What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are here and we are back on the Ferret64 podcast with your host, me, YemmytheFerret. Ferret64 is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, and so much more. And ladies and gentlemen, after a week of trying behind the scenes to get last week's episode back up on Spotify, I gave up. But this actually was a good thing, because I went out and searched the interwebs for someone to make me a new song for the podcast intro and outro. And that person was Gael Lelot, if I'm saying that right. Spelled Gael space Lolliot on Fiverr. And I think they matched the tone that I was going for pretty perfectly, all things considered. Let me know what you think of the new music, either on the Discord or down below in the comments section on Spotify or YouTube. I would really much appreciate that, and I highly recommend his services. I found him because I was searching through Fiverr for, chiptune style music, and his intro video really stood out as someone who was very passionate and knew their stuff. And I said, you know what? All right, let's do it. Let's talk between and get this done. And we got it done. So I do appreciate Adhesive Wombat. I used his song Nightshade for quite some time, but the time is over for me to be using someone else's song, and I had my own song created that I can use, which feels good. Feels good. So should never have that problem again where an episode is taken down for copyright, even though I had explicit and confirmed approval from Adhesive Wombat to use his song for the podcast. Now we have our own music, and I'm very, very happy about that. And if you're happy about that, let me know. And like the video, subscribe, all that jazz. If you're on Spotify, rate it out of 5 stars, or leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. I would very much appreciate that as well. So, let's go ahead and jump right into this episode. We're going to start it off with, what have I been playing this past week? I am still slamming Ball X Pit, a.k.a. Ball Pit, and it's it's pretty much taken over my free time at this point. I before I go stream, usually I would just kind of, chill out, watch some YouTube or something like that. Nope, I'm playing Ball Pit. Going to bed before going to bed, instead of playing like Ghost of Yote or something else, I'm playing Ball X Pit. Like I am very much enjoying the game. I think it's a very fun roguelite adventure, and it's one of those games where when you die, it's not even that big of a deal. You just jump right back in. You maybe choose a different character or whatever. You get an upgrade. You mine for some resources, get some upgrades, right? It's one of these games that really took me by surprise. I knew it was going to be fun, but the concept isn't tested yet. But once you start playing it, you play a few rounds, you go, yeah, I get this. I get why this is so good. Like I said last week, it combines like a ball breaker kind of game with Vampire Survivors, and it works really well. And I really have nothing negative to say about the game. It really is oozing with good game design, fun music, and impeccable pixel graphics that I really enjoy a lot. And it really says something when a game like this comes around, and I would say it's kind of sweeping the nation, I guess. It is getting pretty big. It sold I think it's just hit the threshold of 400,000 copies sold yesterday, so I'm going to guess it's going to reach over 500,000 soon. And that's with it being on Game Pass as well. There's so many people who are just playing it on Game Pass too. Who knows what those numbers are, but I'm sure there's a fair amount of people who are playing it on Game Pass, and maybe they will eventually turn that into a paid thing. Like they'll go ahead and buy the game on a different service, like just to support the developer. I mean, like I said last week, I'm gonna be saying that a lot probably. um, it's $15. It's an absolute steal for how much time I've already put into this game and how much I am planning on playing in the future. It really is. It's just such a fun little game where you're just shooting balls. You're shooting balls and killing enemies with those balls. But damn, did they do a great job giving it that pizzazz I was looking for. Um, I talked about combining balls last week and making new ones. I talked about the different characters that you can use and all that stuff. What I didn't talk about was there's actually Twitch integration with the game. So you can actually go on Twitch and stream and have your chat vote for what balls you use, what character you use, what upgrades you get, what fusions you do. So there's a lot of cool stuff there as well, and also unlocks a free character for you too, and like a kind of like a. I guess he's not really a new character, but essentially it's like a it just makes it so it's known that you're doing the Twitch interaction. So you have like the guy in front of, and then there's a guy behind that who is the actual character that was chosen, and that is all great. There's a lot of really unique characters in there, and the farther you go into the game, the more blueprints you get, which means the more buildings you can unlock and the more things that you can upgrade. So you get a bunch of buildings for each stat. You can upgrade your stats by upgrading those buildings. There's buildings for reviving you after you go down once, or there's another one that gives you an extra 5% XP if you build it. There's also specific buildings for each character that also have unique things that help those characters. And on top of all that, there's like different versions of I guess plants, I guess you could say, like wheat and forest and rock, like resources essentially. And there's different versions of those. You get more, but they're smaller on the map. And there's just so much there. There is just so much there. And I mean, once again, the characters, they're so unique at times. Like there are some characters who I really find super enjoyable to use. I mean, I think every character minus like a couple have been pretty fun to use. Most recently, I unlocked a guy named the Juggler, not the Joker, the Juggler. And what he does is he doesn't just shoot his balls straight forward and bounce them off the enemies. He actually lobs them. So it's kind of like using a mortar. So you are essentially shooting your balls over into enemies, and it can actually ricochet off of those enemies so many times. It does so much damage and kills those group of enemies. Kills a group of enemies very fast. You can also get a building that allows you to use two characters at the same time. Not like the twin characters that I was talking about last week, like the ice climber type characters, where you shoot and another set of balls goes the opposite way. There's actually so essentially you can have two normal characters playing at the same time, and then there's more upgrades. Like you can have an extra starter ball. You can have a opening, like you can get one of those opening like charms or whatever to help you out. There's so much that you can do to improve your run as you get farther into the game. It's actually mind-boggling. If I was to die on that first stage again, I would probably have to jump out my window here. I'm kidding, but yeah, the lobber guy is really cool, and then you can combine him with another character called the Prince or something like that. I forget what his name is. He's like the rich guy. What he does is he shoots all his balls at once in a wide ranging arc. So my idea was, okay, I can combine the lobbing guy with the guy who shoots all his balls at once. I mean, that's literally just a scatter shot, like a mortar scatter shot. And it worked out pretty well. And then last week I was also talking about the guy who I forget what their names are right now. I haven't committed them to memory quite yet, even though I use them a lot. There's one guy who can shoot balls through enemies. That's his starting ability. And then you can also combine that with the guy who does extra damage before balls hit the back of the wall. So essentially, what you can do is you can have your balls go through enemies. They hit they have double damage. They hit the back of the wall. They have normal damage, but they come back through the enemies, back to your character, which is another special ability of the guy who the balls can go through enemies. So yeah, once they hit the back of the wall, it goes straight back to your character. So it does double damage on the way back, and then you combine that with the extra critical damage from the front and the extra critical damage from the back charms that you can get, and it's just a load of pain for the enemies. Now, even though I do tend to, I don't tend to use the same characters a lot. There are some characters who I do tend to lean towards when I'm trying to get the objective done for the level, which is get the gears to upgrade the lift to go down farther into the pit. Right now, I'm in a place where there's like demon guys and they shoot fireballs at you, and there's like these snake pits that you break apart and the snakes like pop out and they become enemies on the field. It's very cool. I haven't gotten past that one yet because I literally, like, before starting this podcast, I just got there. So I usually my rule of thumb is I go and do a round with the regular original character, and then I see what's up, and then I'll decide what I want to do as moving forward. Yeah, I mean, that original character guy isn't too bad, but there is a better version of the character that you unlock right away, which is the sheriff guy who can just shoot faster. So already you got someone who's better than that guy. But I'm not going to say that the original guy is bad. He's kind of like a blank slate kind of guy, a character, and I like that a lot about him. Also, there's a character that I unlocked that just has a big shield on him, and he uses the shield and moves back and forth. And do you know what that does? It bounces balls back. So it is exactly like Brick Breaker, except the balls being shot back do double damage, and the more they bounce off your shield, the more damage they do. And that was so much fun to use the shield, and then you can combine it with a couple of other characters to make it a bit more sustainable. But there's one character who has a special ability to have, when the balls hit the back of the field, they actually keep bouncing. So if you use that in conjunction with the shield guy, if a ball bounces behind you, it'll hopefully ricochet back forward, and then you'll hit the shield, or will hit your back and it'll bounce off the shield. So yeah, it's just there's so much customization, so much switching things around. Like, they definitely nailed this roguelite tenfold. And I know right now Hades 2 is the big thing. Look, I played Hades 2 last year in early access. I talked about it then. I thought it was great, but I just wasn't big into it. And maybe I should go back and play it now. I probably should. But the main thing is that the roguelite in my heart this year is Ball X Pit. I just don't see Hades 2 coming near what I've been putting into Ball X Pit. And it's just one of those things where it's like I think that the aesthetic and the gameplay of Ball X Pit is speaking to me a lot more than any other roguelite out there right now. And that includes Clover Pit, that includes Hades 2, that includes any other roguelite that I'm currently playing, which is not too many. I tend to stay away from roguelites nowadays because the scene is very filled. But at the same time, I do enjoy a roguelite. It's not like I'm gonna go I'm not gonna play any more roguelites ever again because I'm starting to get bored of them. But when one comes around that really clicks with me, hey, I'll take that all the way. I'll take that all the way any day. So yeah, make sure, if you haven't, definitely check out Ball X Pit. It is 2 thumbs up still. And I will reiterate that. 2 thumbs up still. It's very good. Let's move on to some brand new games that came out this week. One of them is Once Upon a Katamari. This is the long-awaited sequel to the Katamari games from the Xbox 360 and PS3 era, because after that era, it was only the remakes. So you had Katamari Damacy reroll, and you had We Heart Katamari reroll, and Royal Revier. So those are great. I love those games. Don't get me wrong. We Love Katamari is still one of my favorite Katamari games. But Once Upon a Katamari is kind of giving it a run for its money. I'm not going to lie. The thing about other Katamari games that I played so far in my time playing this series, so I played Katamari Damacy Reroll, We Love Katamari Reroll. I played Katamari Forever, and Me and My Katamari. And the one thing that always has kind of irked me about the games, which kind of came to fruition with Katamari Forever, was the fact that a lot of the levels are reused, and it kind of gets boring, especially when you play them. You're playing them at a pace that I am, where okay, this is just a Katamari Damacy level. Okay, this is just the We Love Katamari level. This is just, the Me and My Katamari level, Like there's so many repeated levels that are just kind of like remixed or up-resed for these other games. And it starts to become a little bit disappointing to do level after level after level that you've already done in the past and relatively recently, like only about a year or so ago. And I've been a fan of the Katamari series for a while now. I just really that love for the Katamari series just hasn't been actuated or activated until I replayed Katamari Damacy. What was that, 2 years ago now that we played the original Katamari Damacy, and since then I've been on a tear trying to pick up and play every single Katamari game. So I'm pretty close to playing all of them. I just have Beautiful Katamari to go, and the PS Vita title, which I probably will not play. There's also Apple phone game, which I don't have iPods or not iPod. What is it? The 2000s? I don't have an iPhone to play that game with. I'm sure it's fine. But yes, Once Upon a Katamari is the name of the game. It's already wowed me with the level variety in the game and these areas that just get, obviously, just like any other Katamari game, the areas build up. So you start in like this small house or this small room, and as you roll your Katamari, it gets bigger and bigger, and eventually you are able to roll outside. And what they've done differently is, instead of it just being like, okay, you can now go through this area, they do a little like cutscene of like a guy like going through the doors, and then it's like, hey, here's the outside world. Woo, So, essentially once you get like to 10 centimeters, you can roll outside, and there's a whole new world to explore. And I don't know if these areas are super crazy big, but the two areas that I've been rolling around in have been very unique. So the first one, so I should start with the story is that the King of all Cosmos, they were cleaning things up. He does this like trick with this baton scroll thing. He does all these baton tricks with a scroll. He throws it into the sky, and the scroll like sucks up all the cosmos that we've created throughout the other games. And he's like, oops. So what he does, he creates a time machine for the prince to go back in time and roll around in the past to grab things to bring to the future and make and remake the galaxy, essentially. So you start off in Edo, Japan, and the first level takes place in a small room where like there's just all the stuff is just kind of hanging around. It kind of reminded me of the original level from Katamari Damacy, but it was different. And once you're done with that level, it's like, okay, well, you can do the level again, and you can try and do like instead of doing like make your ball this big in this amount of time, it's more of like a speed run type thing. Like how fast can you get your ball to 10 centimeters or something like or whatever, And that was cool. And the next level was in a different location, and I was like, okay, cool. And I'm pretty sure that this like whole Edo area is is one map essentially, but you're just starting in different parts of the map, which I'm fine with. I don't mind that at all. But it does make the game feel a bit unique. Then after about 3 or 4 levels, they're like, hey, you can take the spaceship and go to the Old West, the American West. And right off the bat, like completely different layout, completely different imagery, completely different things to collect in like this old Western town. You start off in a saloon, you're collecting drinks, then you go to the next level, and it's like, hey, pick up the tumbleweeds outside. So, you start off with a bigger Katamari, and you pick up tumbleweeds outside. And there's just so much variety in the levels so far, and then there's so much visual flair and a different visual for each level. It's just been something that I've been smiling while playing it, and it's just one of those. It's just a game that has made me remember why I love the Katamari series so much. I mean, I still liked Katamari Forever. I think I talked about that a couple weeks ago now, maybe more like a month ago or more. But either way, I still liked Katamari Forever. It's not like I didn't like it, but I was starting to be like, okay, we're getting kind of some fatigue here. Like these games aren't really pushing the bar. But Once Upon a Katamari, I think it brings the series back to its roots essentially, while also adding in some nice new features. There's a new power up system where you can actually pick up power ups and use them when you want to instead of them just being used when you pick them up. There's plenty of customization with your prince character. You can also find the cousins and customize them with different things. You can make your own prince if you want to and name them Yemmy. You can do that. And then on top of all that, replaying the levels, there's actually a reason to do that now, not just to get a better time, but also to do different tasks, different challenges for each level. And yeah, it's just been really good so far, and it's another one of those kind of like bargain games where it's like it's $40. I feel like that's pretty good for this day and age, right? With how expensive games are getting, you have an $80 game coming out from Nintendo, you have $70 games coming from Xbox and PlayStation. Leave it to the smaller companies. Well, I guess Bandai Namco really isn't that small, but leave it to these other companies to be like, yeah, we know what we have here, we know what we put into it, we can make a profit by selling it for $40. Much like Bollocks Pick can sell their game for 15, and PowerWash Simulator can sell their game for 25, and Hollow Knight Silksong can sell their game for 20. There's just all these different decisions being made in the indie and AA market that I just feel like the AAA market has kind of stumbled. They really have stumbled while trying to. Well, we'll talk about profit margins later, but they've kind of stumbled with this pricing. It's just the whole issue is kind of like inflated game development costs and stuff like that. Putting like $100 million into a game instead of I don't know, maybe $1 million back in the day. Like obviously they want to make that money back, and then some. I'm way off track here. I love Once Upon a Katamari so far. I'm not super far through it. I've played only like an hour or two. I've played about 5 or so levels, and then I repeated a couple levels just to kind of see what that was all about. You earn these tokens from the king every time you finish a level, and you can use those tokens to get gotcha little capsules that give you new customizable things for your character. The music is great in the game too. I really enjoy the music. Once you beat a level, you can take that song and use it for a different level if you so desire. The open world map is pretty fun. I don't like the camera angle so far, but everything else has been nice. And the camera angle doesn't really matter with it because it is a very flat and open map, and there are exclamation points when you're near something that's important. So, yes, I am giving this one a thumbs up. I am very much enjoying Once Upon a Katamari, and I do want to play more before telling you to definitely go out and buy it. But if you were a fan of Katamari, if you've played the re-roll games and you like them, this one just feels like a nice evolution of those re-roll games, using the same engine, but really remixing some things up while also keeping it true to the Katamari formula and the Katamari Damacy / Katamari series style humor and writing. And because when I heard they were making this game but they weren't keeping it with the same creator, I was kind of worried that it was gonna lose its charm, it's gonna lose its pizzazz, it's gonna lose its whatever. But no, it's just as flamboyant as ever, it's just as funny as ever, and it's just as cute as ever, and it plays just as well as it has played in the past. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and I hope that you will too. I also played a bit of PowerWash Simulator 2. This is the latest game in the PowerWash franchise now. And I don't know how much I really can say about it. I've done 5 jobs, each of them kind of a little bit more involved than the last one. The one thing that I do really like about the game is the fact that, much like what they showed in the trailers, you start a level, and let's say you need to clean a sign, right? And there's like a bit of ground. Once you're finished cleaning that sign, something new will pop up. Like the bathroom will come out of the floor, and it's like, hey, you have to clean the bathroom now. It's like, okay, fine, I'll do the bathroom now. There was like a truck for the first level. There's a truck, and you open up the back door, and you got to clean the inside of the truck. Some, not all, some of the levels have those types of things. There are also regular levels like the campsite where you're just cleaning up the campsite. You're cleaning the cabin, you're cleaning the grill, you're cleaning the fire pit, right? But the levels that have those new like multi-tier type things are pretty cool, and I know that they're going to get more involved as we go. But so far, it's been nice. The one thing that I'm concerned about is the fact that the game is just pretty much Power Wash Simulator again, and I personally, now this is not a this is not a general opinion. This is a personal opinion. I personally am not super into the original Power Wash Simulator game. I found some of the game to be fun, but a lot of the game to be just kind of tedious, which is kind of like the design of the game, right? You're cleaning things. Who wants to clean things? Who wants to go out there and clean your bathroom? Who wants to put away your laundry and rake your leaves, right? Like no one wants to do that stuff. But when you put it into a video game, then it's like, okay, I guess I'll do this. But for me personally, games like this just bore the snot out of me. And after playing 5 missions on Power Wash Simulator on my own, I can say without a doubt that I am once again in the same boat as I was with Power Wash Simulator 1, where it's like, I generally like the game, but holy cow, is this shit boring. Especially if you don't have a video up on the other monitor, or you're not listening to music, or you don't have a friend there with you. And there is, there's the caveat of this game allows 4-player co-op. So, obviously the places you need to clean are going to get larger and larger as you go on, and the 4-player co-op is going to be more apparent as to why you would need that, which I'm pretty I'm kind of like nervous about, because the end of Power Wash Simulator 1, that last wash, I think it took like 3 or 4 hours to do on a Saturday. And it was like, by the end of it, I was like, okay, please just end this now. And I'm concerned that we'll get to that point sooner rather than later with Power Wash Simulator 2, where you get that larger than life, like fire station-esque type thing to clean. And it's multi-tiered, multi-layered, so it just takes forever to do. But Greedy Waffles did say that he was going to play it with me, so I'll get some backup there every so often. I don't want to play too much without him, which is why I didn't really do too many jobs, but I just kind of got into the game enough to get the gist of it. It is nice that they start you off with a good amount of things, like a good amount of different washer type things. So you start out with that white gun from the original game. I call them guns, but it's essentially a power washer nozzle thing, and it comes with the attachment that lets you dual wield it, or not dual wield it, have a little bit of an extra reach with it. And then they give you all the nozzles, so you have red, yellow, green, and white, which all have the various pressures on them and ranges on them. And then they also give you the sudser right away as well. On top of all that, they give you another power washing gun, which is a little bit more powerful, but it has a little bit less range and a little bit less what do you call spread with it, which is good for taking on like grime on windows and rooftops and stuff like that. So you have two different power washing devices right away. Which in the original game you just had when you start that up, you just had the regular power wash gun, and you spray around, and you got to buy everything pretty much. And I will say the sudser in this game, I tested it out. It does work better. It actually gets rid of the grime, or it lets you clean off the grime easier, so that's good. The only thing though is, while I'm playing the game, I'm not thinking of using the sudser, so I just turn on the red nozzle and I blast away at the harder to get stuff, and it's gone. Now I'm sure that there might be an application for the sudser later on to put soap on things, but as of right now, I haven't really needed it. But it's nice. It is nice that that does actually help in the game now, instead of it just kind of being there, because I remember using it in the first game and just being kind of disappointed with how it really didn't do much. But this one, it definitely does something. So, yes, Power Wash Simulator 1 and 2. I'm sorry, 2. Power Wash Simulator 2. If you like Power Wash Simulator 1, you'll most likely enjoy Power Wash Simulator 2. It's just bigger, badder, and full of more things to clean. Obviously, there's a pretty big map inside of it, so I'm sure once I'm done with this first area, it's going to open up the map to go into different locations and clean different things. And I'm interested to see what we'll be cleaning later on. As of right now, though, it has the same problem as the first game for me personally, which is I'm a bit checked out while playing it. But I mean, the PS5 version, it plays well. It runs good. It looks good. It's got a nice frame rate to it. Haven't really had any glitches happen. The only thing that I noticed was like they don't have a stand up button. You press O to go into prone and crouching positions, but if you're prone and you press X, you actually jump instead of just getting up. And it's like I don't get it. Maybe it's just something that they'll fix later on, but it is one of those things where it's just kind of like a little annoyance to me. Like relearning the controls too. Like I keep pressing up on my D-pad, and that brings up the sudser. So I keep accidentally bringing up the sudser when my auto thing is on. So now I'm sudsing things on accident. So I have to turn that off and then switch back, because you press it down to change the length of the power wash gun, but you press up to put the sudser on it or the regular nozzles on it, and then you press left and right to put on the red, yellow, green, and white nozzles, which are the spreads. So just a little bit of getting used to that once again. But other than that, like it's good. It's a fine game. If you only do one clean in each sitting, I think you'll be okay. And I'm just talking for me. I think I'll be okay if I just do like one clean per sitting if I'm doing it alone. And yeah, right now I can't like super like I'm not gonna super recommend this game. Like I'm not gonna give it like a thumbs up. But if you like the first game, I can almost guarantee you're gonna like this game. So I will give it a thumbs up to the people who liked Wash Simulator 1. Now, personally, I want to support this developer and support this game because of the price for the game. I felt like it was a very fair price. The game is also on Xbox Game Pass. If you so desire to use that service, it is on there as well. All right, let's talk about some other games that I've been playing this past week. Now, I promise that this is going to be the last time that I rant about Pokemon TCG Pocket, the app for the phone. I promise you this will be the last time I rant about it, but I have to get this off my chest because it has been coming to a boiling point with this game where I just feel like not even playing it anymore. And it all started with the new EX packs for the game. This was a celebration, the 1 year anniversary celebration of the app. They put out these EX packs with all the best cards from the original packs, all the way up through the Suicune EX packs. I don't believe the Suicune, actually the ones before that, it went up to there. And at first, it's like, on paper, that's great, especially for me, who I missed a lot of those cards in the first 3 packs because I joined during the at the end of the second packs that came out. So it was great for a little while, but then I quickly realized that you get 4 cards per pack, and there's like over 300 cards to collect, and it's only available for 30 days, and I know that I will not be able to get all the regular and reverse holo cards in the packs. I might be able to get all the EX cards, possibly, but I'm definitely not going to be able to get all of the regular cards because each pack is guaranteed to have an EX card in it. I think the thing is like it's guaranteed to have at least a 3 diamond, which is like a basic EX card. And then you can also get reverse holo cards, which each card in the deck, I'm sorry, each card in the pack have a reverse holo unless they're an EX card. So none of the EX cards or the full arts or anything like that have the reverse holo, only the regular cards. So that takes what would have been like 150 cards and boosts it up to like the 300 something card pack. So that's off the bat like really annoying because I'm a collector and I love collecting things, as you can see behind me. Like I'm not shy of that hobby. So when I open up an app like this where it's all digital, so it's not even physical stuff. I don't even collect Pokemon cards physically anymore, besides from the Halloween packs that come out each year. And like the fact that I'm not going to be able to finish this set. I mean, I barely finished the last set, like just the regular card, like the base set of that, before this EX stuff came around. I was like scrambling, like using hourglasses and stuff to try and finish it off. And I just, at the end of the day, I had to trade with someone after the EX stuff came out to get the last of the regular diamond cards, because I will be honest, I think the drop rates in this game are absolutely broken. There will be times where I just cannot get a 1 diamond card, and if you don't know what that is a regular basic ass card that is the least rare of the packs. There is a Bulbasaur from the first starter packs that I have not gotten, and I've opened over 100 of those packs now, and I still do not have a regular 1 diamond Bulbasaur. Do you know how fucking frustrating that is? Like, even the pull rates in those, boxes of 50 or however many packs you get in those boxes nowadays have better drop rates than that. Like, this is absolutely obscene. And with the latest EX packs, there are these nice, beautiful, gorgeous full art cars you can get. There's one for Credant, and there's one for Greninja, and it's like, oh, these are so great. There is one of those full arts that I cannot get to save my life. It's the Guard Noir card. It's like a grass type Pokemon. I don't know exactly how to say their name, much like the guy who did my music, Gale Lolliot. And I've tried the Wonder Picket like 50 times. I've tried to pull it out of these packs. I've been doing 3 packs a day with the gold Pokemon Gold, and I cannot pull this one card. I've gotten plenty of. I think I have like 10 Greninja full arts and like 5 Credant full arts and a bunch of Farfetch'd full arts. Like, I have all the other ones, Slurpuff as well, and I just can't get one fucking card. And by the time that this pack is over with this coming week, because there is already the new stuff has already been announced. There's a new 3-pack coming out. There's the new type of cars coming. Like, all that stuff, all that great stuff. That EX packs are going to go away on the day that those packs come out. And I know that I'm not going to have this Guard Noir card. I'm going to trade for it. Which is fine. Like, I don't mind trading for it, but I think everyone has all those full arts now. I don't think there's a single person in my friends list, at least, who has not gotten every single full art so far. So I just feel like I'm lagging behind. I'm falling behind. Then there's all these special full arts with these like kind of like metallic looking they're standing they're on the card, and they're like standing all buff like Pikachu and Mewtwo and all that stuff. Buzzswole. They have like this metallic kind of look to them, badge kind of look. And those look really cool. I haven't gotten a single one of those. There's also a special interactive card with Pikachu. Haven't pulled that. There's also a bunch of shiny EX cards as well for Darkrai and Gargantua, which I do have the Gargantua one, that's Skyscraper Pokemon. I did get that. And after I got that, I felt like I had I've been having the worst luck ever. Like, that was like the first week of that pack's coming out. I got that stupid Skyscraper Pokemon card that I don't even fucking use, right? So, like, there's all these other cards that are secret rares and stuff like that that I don't have either. And it's like, I don't expect to get all these rare cards, but also at the same time, you have these packs for a limited time. There's exclusive artwork to these packs in these packs. So you either A, better, keep the packs going, or B, or B, put those special cards into the packs that the cards come from. So, put the Pikachu interactive card into the Pikachu packs, the one that has the original card in it. If you don't do that, I'm going to be very upset because, as a collector, you kind of want to get everything, but they're making it so you can't get everything here. And once again, I could be wrong that they're going to take it away and not going to do anything with it, but I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. It's just like the Mario 3D All-Stars pack. It's like, well, I'm going to pick this up. I was going to pick it up anyway. I'm going to pick it up for sure now because it's limited. Will they bring it back? I don't know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Maybe the game will cost $500 next year. I don't know. It's all a guessing game. So that's the one thing. So the new EX packs, they totally screwed over the collecting side of things. 2, the new EX packs totally screwed over trading, because now no one needs any cards. Everyone is getting all these cards, for the other packs and more. If you do trade for a card that you need from the original packs, they do count towards those original packs. So that tells me they're going to probably combine everything at the end of it all. But at the same time, like now, my trade requests have been few and far in between because of the fact that, well, everyone kind of has the cards they need right now. And I feel bad because I can't even trade back cards that maybe are on their wish list because I just don't. I literally have like one of each of sometimes of these cards, so it's like it's frustrating for me because it's like I want to give back and I just can't because I'm just not pulling anything, and the things that I am pulling are like the most common things in the game. So yeah, they kind of messed up trading. And 3, and most importantly for me personally, they totally fucked ranked play. Sorry for swearing, but they totally screwed it up. Ranked play is now totally and utterly unplayable for multiple different reasons. First off, everyone has the good cards now. People are just using the same decks over and over and over again. You see Darkrai and the Skyscraper Pokemon. You see Suicune and whatever water Pokemon they want to use as support. With Greninja, usually it's Greninja. You get the what's the electric one? It doesn't matter. You see the same stuff over and over and over again. Before the EX packs came out, it was the type null decks. So I made a Gengar deck to counter that because if Gengar's on the field, they can't use special cards. Oh, well, now that the type null deck is out of here. It's now just the freaking Darkrai and Gargantua Skyscraper card Pokemon, and that's it. So now I don't even want to go into ranked mode because I just keep seeing the same cards. But it's boring, but you can get around it, right? I had a pretty good Raichu deck a low-end Raichu deck. I had a pretty good Zapdos EX deck going to counter these things. But now I'm running into the problem where I just can't draw anything. And I get it. I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! My entire life. I've played Pokemon for quite a while. I get it. You can't always draw the cards as you want. But when your deck has 20 cards and I load 10 of those cards with Pokemon cards, I better draw either a basic Pokemon or the evolution of the basic Pokemon that I drew on my first turn in the first 3 hands, okay? That's all I'm saying. My first 3 draws, especially if I have the Professor Oak card, which allows me to draw 2 or something like that, I should definitely get more than 1 basic card in my first two draws. But no. I have literally gone, I have a Slugma deck that is pretty common, so it's not like my big baby, right? I have a Slugma deck that turns into Magma, or is it Macargo 2 Slugma? It's Slugma 2 Macargo, right? Pretty basic deck. You're going to always draw Slugma, and you're most likely going to be able to draw the Macargo after that, right? Because you set it up that way. You have the Pokemon communication device that lets you switch out Pokemon. You have the Pokeball that lets you grab a Slugma so you can switch it out eventually, or you can just pull cards to get Macargo. There's multiple ways to get this fucking card, right? I cannot tell you how many times I was playing the Slugma deck and I could not draw the Macargo. I couldn't draw another Slugma card to switch out for Macargo, or I just could not draw Macargo. And I lost my shit. It was, I think, 4 games in a row with ranked match where I just could not draw anything. I literally could not draw anything. It's like, oh, take the supporter cards out of your deck then. That's not helpful because, it was only a month ago that this deck was kicking ass, and it even was kicking the ass of Suicune decks. And I was like, okay, we found the meta here. We're just going to use this and rank up. And I did. I got almost all the way to the top rank. I think it's Master Ball, right? I almost got to that top rank, I was at Ultra Ball rank 3, almost ready to level up. Or was it 4? Ultra Ball 4? And either way, I got to almost to the Master Ball rank. And I was like, I feel pretty good. I got 750 free hourglasses for that. And I was like, yes, if I could just do this again every single time, well, this will be great. Can I tell you how far I've gotten into the ranking system now? I haven't even gotten halfway through Ultra Ball rank 1, which is pitiful. It is absolutely pitiful. Okay? I feel like I'm losing my mind. Every time I play a ranked match, the other person either has the perfect draw, the perfect deck to go against mine, or just the greatest luck ever that I don't pull anything. There are times where I will play, and I was using a Jigglypuff / Wigglytuff and a type null deck / Silver Ray deck. I was doing pretty good with that for a little bit, and there was a time where I pulled the Jigglypuff, and I was like, okay, that's a fine opening draw. I can get Wigglytuff that'll heal the Pokemon, right? Or I'll draw the type null, put that on my bench, and start boosting that. I literally had the Jigglypuff on my field, and that was it for the entire game. The other person drew their Suicune, they drew their Greninjas, they drew everything. Even and this happens even after I shuffle their hands with the red card or even the Mars supporter card. Like, they just have exactly what I mean. Just today, I was using my Zapdos EX deck that I use Pichu and Orikoko in the backfield, and then a Zapdos EX, which does, if you put 3 energy on it, you can flip a coin 4 times, and you for every heads, you get 50 damage. I feel like it's pretty good. You know, it's kind of like a one wipe type thing. And I was using this deck, and I was like, oh, okay, it's like three draws in. I'm gonna use my red card. He had like 6 cards in his hand. I'm like, he's got to have something ready to go. So I pull out my red card and I go, bam. You only have 3 cards in your hand now. You shuffle them all into the deck. I shit you not. I ended my turn after doing my attack. The next turn, they're using like the electric spider, the Joltik or whatever it's called, and the Magnemite, right? The Magnemite deck that turns into Megamite, which does has the ability to add an extra energy to it from the zone for free. I shit you not, they had a regular Joltik and a basic Magnemite on the field. I shuffled their hand, and they had the evolution, the Joltik, on the field, which paralyzes your Pokemon and does like 50 damage. And they also had the evolution for Magnemite to put it into Megamite or whatever it's called right away. Right away after that. And at that point, I just conceded because I was like, this is fucking bullshit, right? And they didn't use a professor's research to draw 2 cards. They didn't use a Pokeball to get another card in their hand. They didn't do anything like that. That shuffle that I did just gave them 3 out of the 4 cards that they could ever want. And it was at that point today where I was like, you know what? I know I've already said this in the Discord, in the Pokemon Discord that I'm in, but I think I'm really just done with ranked battles. I'm like, this was the last week where I was like actually trying to win some matches, and I did get a couple wins here and there. But once again, I have not been past the halfway point for Ultra Ball Rank 1, and that just makes me feel awful. And I could resort to using shitty, stupid, like bait decks like I was before, but I don't want to do that because I stopped having fun using Slugma. I stopped having fun using the Executor deck. You know? Like, I just want to use some fucking cards that are fun for me. Like the Gengar deck I had going. I had the whole evolution change for Gengar, plus Gargantua, plus another one. I also had a Muck/Grimer deck that I was using, the Muck EX deck that puts a special thing on your opponent's Pokemon. And I also had the Krogunk with that as well. And I thought that was a pretty fun deck to use. But no, you know, as soon as I use those decks, I either can't draw what I need, or I can't generate enough energy in enough time for these other people who are using these amazing decks that they just draw everything they need. And maybe there is some card manipulation going on in the background. Maybe there's some hack that these people are using to generate the card that they need at the top of the deck. Maybe it's just the heart of the cards. I don't know. Either way, though, I know that I have ranted about this a couple times on the podcast now, but this is going to be the last time that I talk about this shitty app and I rant about this shitty app for this amount of time. And I know I'm using pretty harsh language here, but I am just fed up with this shit. I'm thinking of marking it as done, as finished, and I'm going to still collect cards, but I am not going to be doing the ranked mode anymore. I'm not going to be battling, and I am not going to be putting this much energy into it. I've already canceled my Pokemon Gold subscription because fuck that noise. I'm just over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. Okay? I'm over it. I'm done. Zippo. Nada. Finito. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss. So long. And thanks for all the fish. Now let me complain about Pokemon Legends ZA. Pokemon Legends ZA or Z2A or whatever, Z-A. I played a bit more of it, as you may have guessed, because it is a new game. And there's one thing that's really bugging me about it right now. And it's once again the buildings. It's once again the graphics. And I know graphics aren't everything, but when you're playing a game that's this high profile from this big of a studio with this much money, and you pay an extra $10 for the Switch 2 version because you're thinking it's going to give you the better experience, when in the actuality, They're just giving you the Switch 1 version with some better lighting and a better frame rate, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much the same. There's no voice acting, which was already kind of weird early on, but now it's really starting to bug me. There's no voice acting in this game. The buildings are all flat JPEGs, like JPEG squares. It's just so annoying. The whole game is the city. So it's like, why do we not have like jutting out balconies and windows and fixtures and stuff like that? Why don't we have the whole map is a city? That's all we have. You can't go outside into the big plains out there. You're in the city. You're battling the city. You're ranking up in the city. But instead of putting work and time into these building textures and making sure that they look they look 3D and rendered out, no, you have balconies that are flat against the wall. It's a JPEG just slapped onto the side of the building, and in some areas it's more egregious than others, but most of the time it sticks out like a sore thumb. And for this love letter to France/Paris, it is just really a slap in the face to all the French people out there that they said, your beautiful city, whoosh, it's just a JPEG. Go fuck yourself. And like, honestly, this is one of the things that is really just irking me about the game, because the gameplay is fine. I enjoy the gameplay. I think the gameplay is good. I think the story itself is good. It's going in good places. I think the ranking up, the mega evolutions and stuff like that, it's all fine and dandy. It's all good. But the one thing that is truly, truly, truly bugging me about this game is just these fucking buildings, because all you see in this game are buildings. So when you're walking through these alleyways and you're just walking past JPEGs of windows and whatnot, it just really starts to grind my gears. You have a wall of bricks that is just spanning the entire hall, the entire alleyway, and you go, wow, could we not have spiced this up a little bit? Could we not have done some visual flair to this game? And I mentioned this also last week when I talked about the game, but the grass and the trees and the textures for like the walking, the ground, those also just kind of look like higher resolution, like Switch 1 things. And like the grass and water, I mean, the water looks fine, but like the grass and stuff, it just looks like stuff that you would see in Scarlet and Violet or even the original Pokemon Legends Arceus. And once again, I know that graphics aren't everything. A lot of people don't even factor in graphics into their reviews and stuff like that. But me personally, it is a big, it's not a big part, but it is a part of everything. Like, it's all a whole big conglomerate. And I feel the need to really make this a sticking point where it's like, I paid $10 extra to get a better looking version of this game, and it just does not look better. I mean, okay, it looks a little bit better, but it does not look anywhere near what I want it to look like. The lighting looks a little bit better. The character models look a little bit better, blah, blah, blah. These are all fine little tiny details. But at the end of the day, I wanted this Switch 2 version to have beautiful sprawling buildings and really utilize the Switch 2's processor. Like, we just got... Like, this is the other thing, too, that really makes my mind go, it farts. We got Mario Kart World. Say what you want about the game. I wasn't too crazy on it, but you cannot say that that game does not look fantastic. Same thing with Donkey Kong Bonanza. That game, say what you want about it. I love the game to bits. Graphically, it is incredible. It's one of the best looking Nintendo games we've ever gotten. And then the come off of Donkey Kong Bonanza from last month or a couple months ago, right? To come off of that game and to be slapped in the face with this Pokemon ZA game, it's just like, here we are. Here we are. We are in that area where it's like, we have Switch 2, but we still need to cater to the Switch 1 player base, because obviously there's still a good amount of people playing on Switch 1, which I don't mind. But at the same time, PlayStation has been dealing with this problem this entire lifespan, which I've already talked about before, where you have to downgrade some of your games to make sure that they work on the PS4 and the PS5. And in this case, Nintendo is downgrading their games to make them work on both Switch 1 and Switch 2. Now, of course, we do have some Switch 2 exclusives, like Mario and Donkey Kong and Drag X Drive, okay? But, there's a lot of games coming out at the later part of this year, other than Kirby AirRiders, where they are cross-generation. Metroid Prime 4, the Age of Calamity game or whatever, Age of Imprisonment. I'm sorry, Age of Imprisonment, stuff like that. These games are coming out on both systems, so I have this fear that I'm going to play Metroid Prime 4 at the end of the year, and I'm just like not going to be blown away by the game. And I already expressed a lot of concern about that game when the Nintendo Direct happened a couple months ago now. So I'm just kind of like I'm just kind of, I'm just, just, I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit speechless right now with just how this Pokemon ZA game turned out. Because really, I mean, when the gameplay is fun, it doesn't really matter how it looks. But when the entire game is just these dull, lifeless buildings, it just starts to really weigh on you. And it's really weighing on me, I will be honest. So, Pokemon ZA, still playing that. I've been playing Battlefield 6. Still good, still enjoying that. Ghost of Yote, playing that. I'm working on taking out the Kitsune. So I'm still working on. I don't have much else to say about those games. So when I have something to say about them, I will update you all. Same thing with Dying Light the Beast and some other games as well that I'm playing in the background. I am playing too many games right now. But I do still only stream one game at a time. And A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead is the game that we played this past week. And I kind of wish that I didn't. So what is A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead? So this is a video game spin-off of the Quiet Place series. There's currently 3 movies in the Quiet Place IP realm right now, with The Quiet Place 1, Part 2, and then I think they called it Day 1, which was the prequel that went back to like the day that the aliens invaded, which they've done multiple times throughout the, every movie starts off with the alien invasion, I'm pretty sure, right? So, it's not crazy that this game also starts off before the monsters attack, but it does something different. It starts you off before the monsters attack, but then they don't actually show the monsters attacking until about 3 hours into the game. So, they do something a little bit different there, I guess. But the main thing about the game is, of course, trying to be as quiet as possible. You're hunting wabbits. You don't want to make too much noise. And they start you off with like this nice little. I mean, I would say that like if the rest of the game wasn't there, I would say that the tutorial is nice. It teaches you how to walk slowly through puddles, to not disturb birds or whatever. That's kind of like the tutorial thing there. They teach you how to get over things and walk faster or slower depending on whatever, right? They want you to keep be mindful of every little noise you make, because you could scare away a deer or the birds. And of course, they're training you to hide from the monsters. And the tutorial messages are invasive at the beginning of the game, but I was like, it's the first like mission, I'm sure it'll be fine. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong, because it felt like every chapter, almost every part of the game, they were pausing it and being like, hey, here's how this mechanic works. And the stupid thing is that they would either A, have a note with the same information in it right near where you were, or B, there would be a visual tutorial where it's like, oh, the monster doesn't like loud noises, right? Or not doesn't like loud noises, but doesn't like static from a TV. And it like shows the monster like swiping at the TV and running away. And it's like, okay, that's a nice visual tutorial. But then they pause the game and go, monsters who are tracking you near TVs will, create static and run away. And it's like, did I need that? No, because I was right there watching it happen. Bear traps. That was another thing too. It's like, how does a bear trap work? I don't know. I don't know how a bear trap works. Like they had to stop the game and say, throw bottles or something at the bear trap to trigger it and make a lot of noise, or whatever. Stay away from bear traps, or you'll get caught and make a lot of noise. It's like, duh. Like, I don't know, like, who needs a tutorial for staying away from a bear trap? That doesn't make any sense. This is kind of what happened throughout the entire game, and it really reminded me of Marvel's Avengers, where that game was tutorials all the way up until the end of the game. Like, there's a big meme on my Twitch channel. There's a clip that's pretty infamous where I'm playing the last level in Marvel's Avengers and you're playing as Captain America, and it gives you the same tutorial message pop-up as the beginning of the game when you're playing as Captain America about his shield and how to use his shield, and I lost my shit. Like, it was just not it was dumb. It was dumb. And this is the same way, where even all the way up until the end of the game, they're giving you the most obvious tutorials ever for these things that are just inferred. Like, you put on a gas mask and you can go through the dusty areas without a problem. I get it. I don't need a message telling me that, you know? So it didn't leave anything up to your imagination or your interpretation. It had to explain every little tiny detail, which got very annoying very quickly. On top of all that, the game didn't really work that well. It was very glitchy. It had a lot of just jank to it, where like the monster would be roaming around the area and I would be like, okay, he's over there. So I go up a ladder, you know, it's very quiet. You go up a ladder and then all of a sudden the monster is just there, alerted to where you are, and he's killing you right there. I had that happen so many times where the monster would just be like all the way over there in the distance. And then all of a sudden, he would slowly start making his way towards me for no reason whatsoever. You know, I didn't make a peep. You know, there was times where I was crouching and still in a corner, and the monster was moving towards me, like it knew where I was, and then it would actually run into me, which would cause the death animation, the game over, to happen. And I was like, I mean, that every time that happened, it just got worse and worse because the places you had to crouch through were getting longer as it went on. So, there was multiple times where that happened, where the monster would teleport or just be moving towards me at all times, even though I wasn't making a lot of noise. And my idea to fix this game was to take the monster out of all these encounters. Like, he could still be there for a couple encounters, but take him out of some of these encounters and just have the main challenge being, how quiet can you get through these areas? Opening doors, opening drawers, moving planks, walking across glass and various surfaces. Like, that is the part of the game that really shine when you're going through these little sections where the monster isn't around, but if you make a loud noise, you'll hear the ticking of the monster in the distance, or you'll hear like the dun dun of like the soundtrack going like that when you make a little bit too much noise. Because that was the more intense moments of the game. When the monster was there, it was more annoying than anything else. Like, when the monster was around, the game was not intense. It was just annoying and frustrating because the AI with that monster was, let me tell you, it was no alien isolation, you know? So there was that whole thing going on where the monster just knew where I was at all times, always was moving towards me, always getting into the way, and I just felt like it's just so forced. It's so forced, this forced conflict. And then at the same time, there would be moments where I wasn't doing anything loud, but the monster would be alerted and run towards me and take me out for a game over. There was actually one time where I was just dropping a board, right? And you have no control over this board dropping. Everything else, you can control how fast it goes down and how loud it is, right? The boards, though, they just go boom. She literally just drops them. And of course, I got into the animation of dropping the board as soon as the alien was doing his big sensory thing. So it doesn't matter if you're moving slowly or whatever. If you make any sound at all, it'll be alerted to your location. So of course, I started that animation of the board falling over, and then he started to do the sensor thing, and when it hit the ground, he knew exactly where I was and killed me, right? Came over and killed me. And that happened a couple of times too, where you get stuck in these animations of crawling through a corner, like a small crack in the wall, or shimmying across a gap, and you're stuck. It's literally a cutscene. You can actually skip those cutscenes when you're shuffling across something. And because of that, that also got me killed a few times where, the monster was behind me. I can guarantee you through the footage, the monster was behind me, and I go through a small crevice, and then all of a sudden, he's just right there in front of the crevice, and I run into him. I can't stop my momentum because it's a cutscene. So I come out of the crevice, and I walk right into him, and I say, "Hello, sir. How are you?" And we shake hands, He tries to sell me car insurance. So yeah, it was just, just the overall game just did not feel good. It didn't play very well, in my opinion. It looked fine, graphically it was fine. The The monsters themselves looked pretty good. Looked pretty much like the movie, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, the rest of the game just was really not that fun. It just like the whole concept just started to fall apart very early on. The annoying tutorial messages, the annoying encounters with this alien monster, all the things kind of compounded on top of each other. And then the cherry on top is the fact that the story is not written very well and the characters are not acted very well. No hate towards the actors themselves, but the dialogue was just so bad and the voice acting wasn't very good either, in my opinion. My apologies to the actors themselves. I don't want to shit on the actors or even the developers of the game, but at the same time, I have my criticisms for it, and I'm going to tell you them here because I'm always honest on this podcast and always wanted to give you the right information. And yeah, the voice acting just not good. The story beats not good at all. There was a character who was kind of like the quote unquote antagonist through the game called Laura. She essentially starts the conflict where she pushes your father or has her lackey push your father into a door that pushes over a cart and causes the monsters to attack the hospital you're staying in. And then later on, for whatever reason, she has a gun and she shoots your dad in the chest, and that also calls the monsters to them. And the monster actually hits her into a wall, and you think, oh, she's probably dead, right? But no, that happens in at the first 2 or 3 hours of the game, right? She gets pushed and she kills her dad. She gets pushed into a wall. She shows up at the very end of the game. I am not kidding. She shows up at the very end of the game to save you. No character build up, no character motivation, no motivations other than what we knew that she was trying to, she was trying to get to you because you had her son's child, right? So the character growth is non-existent. The character redemption arc is non-existent. She just gives you her gas mask, and then she sacrifices herself by blasting the siren on a lighthouse while you're escaping on a boat. And I was just like, the whole section, I was like, this was not earned. Also, it's very unbelievable that she made it all this way because she's hunched over and clutching a very obvious giant gash on her stomach as well. And it's like you either would have bled out or had to stop and patch yourself up before moving on, and we've been moving this entire time. So it's one of those things where it's like, this is also super unbelievable that you made it all this way, not only in your condition but also with this much of a bloody patch on your person. So and they try and give her some sort of reasoning for why she doesn't trust you and whatnot. It's like, yeah, sure, we got her son killed, this Martin guy killed, because we went over a fallen tree in a very dumb way. I will be honest. That got him killed. So she kind of resents us for that, but then she also blames us for her husband's death. And if you actually play that section of the game where you're in the back of a van and you're shooting shotguns with the husband, and it's not even your fault that you die. It's actually Laura's fault. Her driving was so shitty. She flips the van over and rolls the whole thing around. And then the monster's looking in and listening inside the van. And Martin, the guy who is your boyfriend in the game, wakes up and he's like, oh! And the dad's like, no! And he shoots the shotgun to distract the monster, and then he dies. So it's not even your fault that the dad dies, but she blames you for some reason. So all this, it's just, yeah, it was very messy. And in the end, I ended up giving this one a 1.5 out of 5. Finally, for this section of the podcast, I played the Midnight Walk 2 weeks ago. I forgot to talk about this last week. I really should have just added that in because this podcast is already over an hour long. But the Midnight Walk, this is a claymation animated game where you play as a fire keeper or keeper of the flame, and you guide a little pot boy who has a flame himself to the moon to reignite the sun. And it's very Tim Burton-esque, slash Nightmare Before Christmas. I know Tim Burton technically didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas, but it is that style of a more creepy claymation type thing, Coraline or whatever type thing you want to call it. And that all is done exceptionally well, and they actually used actual clay models and clay animation, like, taking multiple pictures of these models and putting them into the game, and that all looks fantastic. It really does. It really came together quite well, along with the voice acting and the story beats. So essentially throughout this game, you're journeying to the other side of the world, essentially, to reignite the moon, and you're getting these little, like, vignettes, these little stories, every area you go to. And of course there's like these creatures that want to eat the flame, consume the flame, so you got to watch out for them. But then there's also just inhabitants in these areas. There's the people who chop their own heads off because they disagreed with what their bodies were doing, right? So the whole town is just their heads, and they have like this weird society. And then you meet the bodies later on, and you kind of get them to work together. And then you also help this beast that's like the last of its kind. It was hunted by the nobodies. So that all happens in one section. Then there's another section where you're following like this owl character around, and it's telling you the story of like this giant who would mold things out of clay, and he molded his daughter to be the queen of the kingdom, but she didn't want to do that anymore, so she left, and he was all sad, and you got to reignite his heart so that he goes after her to say he's sorry about how things happened. And there's like four or five stories like this that kind of loosely connect together, but it's mostly just to kind of keep the story going, keep something there. And it's not like an incredibly involved game at all. Like, the gameplay is pretty basic, all things considered. And I was hoping they were going to do more with the gameplay, because you use matches to light things on fire, and you command Potboy to light things on fire and do things as well. But they, very early on in the game, they give you this like matchstick gun, and it's like, oh, this could be kind of cool to use, but they barely use it throughout the game. Also, there seems to be like one mechanic for each of the stories, and then that just gets forgotten about throughout the rest of the game too. I felt like they could have kept building on top of things, giving us more things to do. So it's a lot of style over substance for this one, but I think that the more basic gameplay and not like evolving gameplay it doesn't really need a more involved gameplay style, because I think visually the game is just telling you this amazing story, and it's done in this claymation style, which is very unique for the gaming landscape. And I think all of that just kind of combines to make a very good experience. So in the end, putting everything together, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I'll probably put it in like the B tier, but I thought that it was, in general, a good game, and I enjoyed my time with it. It's not something that I would play again, but I would recommend, like, hey, if you want to play something that's a little bit creepy, maybe a little bit intense here and there, the Midnight Walk, not too bad of a game to try out. Okay, let's move on to what's in the news. All right, the biggest news of the week, which was actually the most recent news of the week, which is Halo is coming to PlayStation. The people behind Halo, the 343 Industries, I'm pretty sure it is, they announced that they are making a new remake of Halo. So it's going to be called Halo Campaign Evolved. They are using Unreal Engine 5 to make it the best looking version of Halo out there. And I will say that take out the PlayStation aspect of this, right? The campaign itself, this is a legendary first-person shooter campaign. It's one of those early on first-person shooters that really set the standard for campaigns for first-person shooters and gunplay for first-person shooters going forward. This is a very revolutionary game. It really kickstarted Microsoft and the Xbox in general, and it's been a staple franchise of the Xbox for quite some time. We got Gears of War on the PlayStation a couple months ago, last month, and that was pretty big. Halo coming to PlayStation is huge. And this is one of the last franchises from Xbox that has not made its way over to the PlayStation yet, or at least been confirmed to come over to the PlayStation yet. We know that Starfield will come to the PlayStation eventually. We know that Fable is probably going to come to PlayStation, and anything else that they're working on right now, they're probably going to come over to PlayStation. But we did not know anything about what Halo was doing. So this does make sense, much like Gears of War Reloaded made sense to put the first game on PlayStation. Now we're getting the first game in the Halo series on PlayStation with this new coat of paint. It does seem to be more of like in the remake territory. It seems like they've rebuilt the game from the ground up. They've given it some modernizations that maybe some people will be kind of iffy on, like aiming down sights and stuff like that. They've added in some weapons from the series that I guess should have been in the game if they were already in the Halo 2 and Halo 3 had the weapons and ODST had the weapons, so they should have been in this game, but limitations at the time, of course. But yes, this is a faithful yet modernized remake of the original game's single-player campaign. There will be no multiplayer included. The campaign has been rebuilt with high-definition visuals, updated cinematics, and refined controls. In addition to the returning campaign, there will be 3 new prequel missions set before the events of the main game that will follow Sergeant Johnson and the Master Chief, which sounds kind of fun, I'm not going to lie. In a quote, they said, "Battle through original missions, newly rebuilt with enhanced level design, updated cinematics, and improved wayfinding, refined to keep the pace moving without losing the wonder, tension, or heroism of the original." Outside of the new visuals and cinematics and animations, there's a new remastered soundtrack along with some new voice acting in there, which does make me a little bit sad because that original soundtrack and that original voice, the original voice acting are kind of iconic at this point. Also, they included 9 new weapons into the game, including the energy sword, the battle rifle, and the needle rifle. You'll also be able to aim those weapons down sights, much like the sniper rifle from the original game, but you'll be able to aim other weapons down sights as well. They released on Xbox's YouTube channel, they released an entire playthrough of the Silent Cartographer mission, which is one of the most important single-player missions in all of Halo and maybe even first-person shooters. This is one of those missions where it is very dynamic. You're storming the beach. You're going you're going around this island. You're going into the facility, and you're taking out the Covenant inside of there, right? So it's a very dynamic one where you're driving around with a warthog around the island, and you go inside for some boots on the ground combat. And it's a very fun mission. It's a very good mission. It's one of the missions that most people point to and say, "Hey, that's the mission of the Halo 1 campaign." Next to the flood in the when they introduce the flood, that's also a very important part of this game as well. They didn't show that level though, but just watching the gameplay footage, I mean, the game looks good, seems to play pretty well. They're probably playing, of course, either on PC or on an Xbox, but the graphics look fantastic. The light in the game looks great. The gameplay looks really good. I mean, they added in running into the game, which personally, I mean, I'm kind of like, give or take on that one. Like, I don't really care per se that they're adding in sprinting into the game. I know it wasn't in the original one, so that might mess up some of the flow of the game if you're able to sprint through sections. I mean, speedrunners will be pretty happy about that at least. But yeah, I think like in general, like the UI is pretty clean. It's not like the Halo 5 where you had a bunch of shit on the screen, right? Like, it seems like they kept pretty faithful to the original game's UI and also the layout of the original game as well. And then they're pretty much just adding in some flair to the game that wasn't in the original, some modernizations that maybe some people will want, maybe some people won't want. Personally, I think it's fine what they're doing with this. Of course, we'll have to wait and see when we actually get the game in our hands to really make a judgment call on that. But for the most part, it does look like they've really have remained faithful to the game. I'm just a little bit leery on like, okay, we're adding in all these older weapons, we're adding in running, and we're changing up the voice acting in the original soundtrack. Like, you already had the updated soundtrack for the Master Chief Anniversary Edition or whatever it's called, the last remaster of the game. And that, I mean, that updated soundtrack was fine, and the updated visuals are fine on that game, but it also had that problem of like being just a bit over the top, right? You had like this Halo 5-esque looking campaign over this the original skin and bones of the original Halo game, and that was the same for Halo 2 and 3 and all the other ones that they did that for. So this is just a complete ground-up remake. You're not going to be able to switch between graphics. You're not going to be able to, play the original game. And I am interested in playing this. I definitely will be picking this up physically when it does come out because this will look real nice on my shelf on my PlayStation game shelf. So, but it's also another like one of those things where it's like we've had Xbox releases like Grounded and whatever on the service already, right? But this is actually like, Gears of War was cool, sure, but this is actually the big news. This is actually the thing that we've all kind of been expecting and waiting for. Now you might be asking yourself, why is Xbox bringing all of its games to PlayStation 5? What is going on? So on Bloomberg, Jason Schreier came out with an article talking about the inner workings of Xbox, and this is like the next news article, by the way. So there was this big expose on the behind the scenes and business practices that Xbox has been doing, Microsoft has been doing. And essentially, what he found out was that in late 2023, following the Activision Blizzard buyout by Microsoft, they decided that they need to hit a 30% profit margin across the board. Every single game needs to hit this percentage. Most industry averages are between 17 and 22%, so this is about a 10% or even more increase on the average. So a lot of people are saying, and me personally, I believe this too, because of this 30% profit margin, a lot of studios have been shut down that haven't been making that back. Thousands of staff members have been cut at this point. I think like 10,000 staff members. Don't quote me on that because I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think about 10,000 people have lost their jobs inside of Xbox. They've also canceled a bunch of projects like Perfect Dark because they don't think that they're going to be able to hit these profit margins. And you look at games like Hi-Fi Rush that came out 2 years ago, and it was like one of those games that people were like, whoa, this is really cool. Good job, Xbox. But then what did Xbox do? They said, oh, you didn't make enough money. We're shutting you down. And it's pretty much Xbox looking themselves in the mirror and saying, "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Who killed Hannibal?" Right? The old joke there from the Eric Andre show, where Eric Andre pulls out a gun and he shoots Hannibal Buress in the chest, and he reloads and shoots him again, and then he looks at the camera and goes, "Who killed Hannibal?" And that, like, literally, this is Xbox shooting themselves and going, "Why didn't you make 30% profit?" Because Hi-Fi Rush, when that came out, it was it was a shadow drop with no hype. 2, it was an Xbox Game Pass shadow drop, so it wasn't even really for sale. There was no pre-order bonuses, no pre-orders at all. It was just available on Xbox Game Pass day one, or you could buy it separately for like $40, right? How are they supposed to make their money back on that game when those two things are happening? No hype cycle, no information about the game, shadow drop. Then it's also on Xbox Game Pass. And everyone who has an Xbox should or has had Xbox Game Pass for a while, so they're going to play this game. They're not going to buy this game because it's already on Game Pass. So of course you're going to lose a ton of money there. And yes, they have brought the game to other platforms now. There's the PS5 version, and I believe there's a Steam version as well. But the main thing here is, like, of course you're not going to hit that profit margin because you've already cut your profits more so in half, maybe even more like 50 to 60% in half, because of the fact that you shadow dropped it and released it on Xbox Game Pass. And you can say the same thing about multiple games coming from Xbox where they put them on Xbox Game Pass, yet they expect them to make tons of money. But it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, yes, you're making a good amount of money from Game Pass subscriptions, and all the people who have canceled Game Pass, the however many, like 3,000 people who canceled Game Pass, that's not really going to hurt their bottom line in the long run, unless even more people, like maybe more like 15,000 people, start dropping Game Pass. But it's not really they're not gonna really lose money if only like 2,000 to 3,000 people are gonna cancel Game Pass, and then most of those people are gonna re-sign up anyway in the future, most likely, because it is still a good deal. Even though I have my complaints about the service, especially when I ranted about it, but it's still a good deal. There's a lot of games on there. If you get the Ultimate Edition, there's still something there. There's something to be said. You get all those Ubisoft games, all those EA games. You also get Day One games, and also the Fortnite thing as well. Like, there is value there. Don't get me wrong, but you just kind of have to decide for yourself. Like, is it worth the price tag of admission? And a lot of people are going to they're going to immediately say, no, it's not worth the price of admission. But then, maybe a few months later, they'll go, actually, that is still a pretty good deal. I'm going to pick that up. And personally, I've been thinking about re-upping it again, too. Like, I've had those thoughts where it's like, well, I want to play Ninja Gaiden, and I want to play Keeper, and I want to play the new Black Ops 7, campaign at least, but I don't feel like spending $70 on Call of Duty. I don't feel like spending $70 on Outer Worlds 2. I don't feel like spending $70 on Ninja Gaiden. So right there, I mean, that's like $100 and something that I could save right there. So it kind of makes me go, well, maybe I should get back on Game Pass because it is still a pretty good deal. But at the same time, it's like, do I stick to my guns and say, hey, I don't like this price increase? But then at the same time, it's like, well, even if I do stick to my guns, now I'm missing out on a good deal in gaming. Still, to this, all things considered. But I spend more money in the long run because I'm going to get these games either down the road when they're on sale, or I'm going to buy them right away because I want to talk about them here or play them to compare them to other things like Black Ops 7 to Battlefield 6, right? So that's all running through my mind right now as I read through these articles. And, a lot of games that Xbox does release, like Indiana Jones and I think even Gears of War, they made a good amount of money on PlayStation and other platforms. So there is something to be said there where Xbox is still going to make money from these things. I'm sure Black Ops 7 will still sell pretty well on the PlayStation, even with Battlefield 6 and Xbox Game Pass doing its thing. Like Xbox will still make some money from these games. It's just when you're looking at something as high as a 30% profit margin, that just feels very, very unobtainable for most of the games that are being put out on there. Like this Keeper game by Double Fine, this is an Xbox studio. It's a smaller game. They're selling it for $30. And it's like, well, okay, it's on Xbox Game Pass, so I'm guessing most people are going to play the game on Xbox Game Pass. And if they're not playing on Xbox Game Pass, they're either going to pick it up on PlayStation or Steam. And I mean, those are significantly lower amounts of people who are playing the game on PlayStation and Steam, but you're still going to generate a good amount of money if they're buying the game in masses. Now, The Keeper is not a marquee title from Xbox. This is a Double Fine product that is not attached to the Psychonauts franchise, but it has like the style of Double Fine. And if you're a Double Fine fan like myself, you're going to want to pick that up and play it, right? But most people out there are not going to be interested in playing The Keeper if they just see it on the PlayStation Store or the Steam Store or whatever. But if they see it on Game Pass, they'll go, "Oh, I'll play that," and they'll play it, So I don't see how The Keeper is going to make 30%, or going to make the 30% profit margin target, because I feel like most people who are going to buy the game already have Game Pass anyway. So it's like, well, why am I going to buy the game if it's on Game Pass? So I hope that nothing bad happens to Double Fine, because I feel like Double Fine is one of those studios that I really enjoy playing their games. I mean, pretty much every single game that's come out from them, even the Psychonauts VR game, were fun to play. And I just haven't gotten around to playing The Keeper yet. I'm still debating on whether I'm going to pick up Game Pass again because of all these other games that are coming out. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, right now, I'm just playing way too many games to really put a lot of thought into it, but maybe by the time that December rolls around, or November even, I might be talking about some of these games on Game Pass again. So, yeah, I just thought that this article was pretty wild. The 30% profit margin, pretty crazy. It was a great article to read on Bloomberg. I know most of it is paywalled, but the things that Jason Shearer talked about on his Blue Sky and Twitter accounts more so summed up everything that you wanted to know from it. And from what I read, it's just a very interesting thing. And it also explains a lot as why they were closing down all these studios and moving around all these things and laying people off. Like it does explain a lot, and it's because they're trying to reach these profit margins that are a bit unattainable with the business strategy that they have going, because so much of that money is going to be just sunk into Game Pass, where people are just playing the game for no extra cost. And you can push back on that if you want to, but I think that it's pretty much a guaranteed thing that Game Pass eats into their profits. We've seen that with Call of Duty, with Black Ops 6. They lost like $200 million or whatever it was, right? Or $600 million? I forget exactly what the numbers were, but that's because a lot of people weren't buying the game on Game Pass. But they still made a fair amount of money from that because of the season passes and the skins and the blah, blah, blah. So they're still going to make that money back, I think. So, I mean, like I said, this does explain a lot of what's been happening inside of Xbox. It explains why they're raising prices on consoles and Game Pass and stuff like that, why they're selling $70 and trying to sell $80 games. Like, it all makes sense in the long run. But for the consumer, it's just a bit shocking, right? When those things come out with no other context other than Xbox being like, yeah, we're doing great. And then the next day they go, oh, but we need to lay off 5,000 people. It just, from the consumer angle, it looks bad, and that's one of the other reasons why I dropped Game Pass, is because the business practices have been pretty shady, been pretty shitty. They closing down studios, laying people off, etc. that's also another part of like why I wanted to get rid of Game Pass was because of that. So like I said, I could stick to my guns and say, hey, I don't want this, but then I also could save some money in the long run by signing back up for Game Pass Ultimate and being able to play these games that I was going to play anyway because they were on Xbox Game Pass, but since I got rid of it, now it's like, well, I feel like I'm missing out because I'm not playing Ninja Gaiden, I'm not playing Outer Worlds 2, I'm not playing Keeper, and so far I'm not playing Black Ops 7, even though I still have some vested interest in playing that just for the purposes of this podcast. So I hope you don't look down on me for saying that, but if I do end up getting Game Pass Ultimate back, will that make me into a liar, into a spineless bastard, a guy who goes back on his word? Maybe it does, but also at the end of the day, I need to do what's best for me and my financial situation, and I kind of was running the numbers, and I was like, yeah, if I buy Ninja Gaiden 4, and I buy the Keeper, and I buy Black Ops 7, that's like $200 and something dollars, or not, maybe not 200, but maybe like $170, $180 right there. And 1 month of Game Pass is $30. So technically, I could just boot up Game Pass for the games for like a month or 2 months, and essentially play at least 2 of the games for free. I don't know. Like I said last week, though, use your own sense. You do what's best for you. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're using Game Pass, you're such an I'm not going to do that, right? But I still do have my criticisms, and a lot of the stuff that I said in that ranting episode 2 weeks back still is true and still there, but I think I was a bit hasty on canceling the Game Pass, because I think that is still, after the dust settled and I calmed down, it is still a decent deal, all things considered. But, you do what's best for you, like I said. Next up, EA, Electronic Arts, is partnering with Stability.AI, which is a leading independent and multi-model generative AI company. So they decided to launch a strategic partnership with EA to co-develop transformative generative AI models, tools, and workflows that empower EA's artists, designers, and developers to reimagine how games are made. In the press release, they said, this partnership combines EA's leadership in interactive entertainment with Stability.AI's unparalleled technical expertise in generative AI. Together, we're opening new creative frontiers that will shape how EA designs, builds, and brings experiences to players around the world. Among the first joint initiatives is accelerating the creation of physically based rendering, or PBR, materials through new artist-driven workflows. For example, generating 2D textures that preserve exact color and light accuracy across environments. The partnership will also pursue developing AI systems capable of pre-visualizing entire 3D environments from a series of intentional prompts, allowing artists to creatively direct the generation of a game content with unmatched speed and precision. So this is disappointing to me. I've said this in the past. I don't mind AI being used as a tool. But what they're describing here doesn't sound like they're using it as a tool. It sounds like they're using it as a fast forward button or a skip button or a do this for me kind of thing. The area where I feel like AI is most useful right now is writing code and stuff like that, filling in the blanks, doing the busy work. There's a lot of developers out there who benefit from having AI write some code for them while they're doing other things, or having the AI write the code and then checking it over real quick to make sure that it looks right and then moving on. That does speed up the development process, and that still allows the human input to be there. But when they talk about things like put a prompt in and then hit enter, and now you have the 3D landscape that you want, or the 2D object that allows light to pass through it, it just sounds like we're taking unnecessary shortcuts, and maybe we won't even notice what where they use these things. But I'm pretty sure that with Starfield, they also had like generative planets, right, where the planets were just kind of procedurally generated and there wasn't any real thought put into it, and you can kind of see where the the issues start to take place where it's like, okay, well, you have this auto-generated landscape that all of a sudden has a building randomly there and it doesn't look right, or it's just like a bunch of nothing. The AI doesn't put anything in there of note, and it's like, well, I just, once again, it's not like I'm an AI hater, but at the same time, when AI is doing all the work, generating landscapes, generating 3D models, generating pictures, generating music, etc. It's like, well, what am I paying for? Why would I spend $60 at on a game by Electronic Arts that's mostly done by an AI model and some guy typing in prompts, it's one of those things where I see the application and I see why they're doing it, but I also scratch my head and go, yeah, but why are you doing this? You're just trying to take an unnecessary shortcut, take the human aspect out of it, and then what you get is a soulless AI thing. And I'm sure that they will still have a lot of developers working on games. I'm sure of that. But I would think that a lot of the stuff will be taken, AI will be just there to generate things, and then they'll just, a human will piece everything together at the same, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, using AI is not a wholly bad thing, but also just letting it generate anything that it wants to, and then going, that looks good, and then putting it into a game. Until this is really fleshed out and solid, there's going to be moments where you go, why does that person have 4 fingers? Why is their eyeball like that? I feel like there will still be things like that. If they use it on a character model, and they don't catch it by the time the game comes out, being like, well, why is Tom Brady's nose, why is it like a little bit too far to the right? It's because it's AI, and of course, after the whole buyout that is possibly going to go through by the companies that I talked about a few weeks ago, this is just another piece of the puzzle where it's like, man, I was really hoping that EA was not going to go down this route, but they have, and they are one of the first to openly admit that they are going to be implementing AI into their game, so at least they're open about it. But at the same time, like, it's just a little bit disappointing to just hear everything that they're going to be using AI for, and just knowing that it's not just like writing some code for them or whatever. It's actually modeling and making things, and it's just taking the artist out of the art, essentially. Because anyone can AI generate something. I've received some like AI videos of like a Browns player talking. It's like, it looks fine. Like, obviously the voices still need a little bit of work, but I'm not gonna be like, oh, what the fuck is this? But it's like, it's cool, but I just don't see where the real application comes in, other than like, wow, look how real this looks. Or like I've seen, we've all seen those pictures of like, they will generate like Donald Trump running down the street trying to escape police, right? We've seen that was one of the first times that like AI really fooled a lot of people. And then, people would point out like, oh, there's an extra hand here that comes out of nowhere, or, oh, look at these people in the background. They don't look like real people. So, those are the things that they'll look out for with the future EA games, I guess I would say. And I guess we'll see how it goes. All right, the CEO of Remedy, the studio that put out the Control and Alan Wake games, and most recently FBC Firebreak, has decided to step down from the position. So Tero Vertrala has stepped down immediately from the Finnish studio after FBC Firebreak was deemed a failure. That is right. So if you don't recall, I talked about FBC Firebreak a while ago. I said that it was just multiplayer basic slop. And a lot of people were like, what? No, you what? Slop? You can't say that. Well, fast forward a couple months, no one's talking about the game other than, hey, remember how like basic and bad that game was? And here we are. Tero Verchala took his position in 2016. And I guess he said that he would work during the transition period if he needed to, but co-founder Marcus Maki will temporarily take the role as interim CEO effective right now. So yeah, this is obviously well, maybe it's not obviously, but it seems to be connected to the failure of FBC Firebreak. I'm wondering if he pushed like the multiplayer game. He was like, "Hey, we can make a lot of money off this multiplayer game and put more funds into like Control 2 or something like that, right?" So maybe he was like the voice behind like making a Left 4 Dead style multiplayer game, but at the end of the day, the game was just it was filled with microtransactions. It was not fun, and when both those things come together, it makes for not the best output. So I wish him the best in his future, is what CEO Maki said on Virtala leaving. But he says, I mean, I would say, yeah, just don't let the door hit you on the way out. But I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously he was with the company for quite some time. He was the head honcho for Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2 and Control, and right now they have the Max Payne remake coming out, and Control 2 is obviously in development. So, I mean, maybe it was a bit harsh, or maybe a bit, I don't know, hasty for him to step down after the failure of FBC Firebreak. But at the same time, this Firebreak game was just a real miss for a lot of people, including myself. So there you go. Okay, some sad news in the gaming landscape. Tomonobu Itagaki passed away recently. He was the one behind the original Ninja Gaiden games and the Dead or Alive series. He passed away at just 58 years old. So he wasn't even that old. On Facebook, the news was posted saying, "Last words, the light of my life is finally fading. The fact that this message has been posted means that the time has finally come. I am no longer in this world. I'm asking a loved one to make this final post." So it's almost like he knew that he was dying, or maybe something tragic happened that I don't want to speculate about. But yeah, just a very sad moment. And then James Mielke on Blue Sky corroborated the news by posting, "Today I lost someone who was truly like a brother to me. I am gutted to the core. I guess I can say now that it's on his Facebook page. He even listed himself as my actual brother on Facebook. Anyone who knows me knows how close we were. R.I.P. Senpai, you will always be a ninja." And then also another post on his social media said, "My life has been a series of battles I kept winning. I've caused a lot of trouble too. I'm proud to say that I followed my beliefs and fought to the end. I have no regrets. However, I'm filled with regret that I wasn't able to deliver a new work to all my fans. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. So it goes. Itagaki Tomonobu." So I wonder if he he had like a cancer. Maybe he found out that he had cancer, and it was in the late stages of development, and he couldn't really do anything about it. Either way, it's a sad story all around. My heart goes out to his family, and of course all the fans out there are obviously very upset about this as well. So yeah, just it's really unfortunate, his passing. He wasn't even able to see his the Ninja Gaiden game that came out recently, Ninja Gaiden 4. He wasn't able to see and play that. I'm sure he would have given it the thumbs up. I would think, based off of what people have been saying about it. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but we'll have to move on and keep his legacy alive. All right, let's switch gears here. Mario is going to get his own Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. He's getting his own Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon. This is the 99th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and this is the first time that Mario will be making an appearance, I'm pretty sure, since everything started up. So on Thursday, the 27th of November, 2025, Mario will be gracing the New York streets with his face. And he's kind of in like a flying stance, kind of like Mario Galaxy. So I think Nintendo is really pushing for the whole Mario Galaxy thing here. So They just released the Mario Galaxy 1 Plus 2. They announced that the next Mario movie is Mario Galaxy the movie, and now they have Mario in a balloon form in the Mario Galaxy like flying animation. So that really does make me think that Mario Galaxy 3 or something similar to that is going to be coming out next year. In a press release from Devin Pritchard, EVP of Revenue, Marketing, and Consumer Experience, and soon to be president of Nintendo of America, he said, having Mario join this iconic holiday tradition is an incredible way to honor the 40th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. Since his first emerged from a warp pipe, Mario has embodied our goal of bringing smiles to faces all over the world. We are excited for Mario fans of all ages to see his new balloon in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade debut. So, yeah, I'm sure it'll be great. It's a balloon at the end of the day, but it does have some implications, like, sticking with that Mario Galaxy theme, huh? Also, kind of weird that like Princess Peach and Bowser aren't going to be there too, but it must be a lot of money to get your stuff into the parade to begin with. So, we'll see if there's like a marching band doing the Mario theme or something too, which would be kind of fun, I guess. All right, some unfortunate news for people waiting for Elden Ring on the Switch 2. They decided to delay it to 2026. On Twitter, the Elden Ring official channel said, while developing on Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, which is the Switch 2 edition, continues wholeheartedly toward release, we have decided to move the launch date to 2026 to allow time for performance adjustments. We apologize to players looking forward to the game and thank you for your patience and support. This also means that any of the special Tarnished Edition goodies that would be coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC are also going to be delayed as well, meaning that you won't be able to play as the new character or anything like that until next year too. So a little bit disappointing for people who were excited to play the game in the first year of the Switch 2's life cycle, but I'm sure it'll be early next year that they release this. I find it hard to believe that there's that much going on in the background that they won't be able to put it out sooner rather than later. But maybe they're having some trouble with the Switch 2 software. They're getting things to look right, play well. I don't know. Or maybe they're figuring out what they want to do with the cartridge situation. Will they have everything on cart, or will it be a game key? We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, though, Elden Ring Tarnished Edition coming in 2026, and we'll have to wait for more information. All right, let's move on to the final part of the show, which is what's coming soon. You might be saying to me, Yemmy, why didn't you put the Kirby AirRiders Direct number 2 at the start of the podcast? You always do what was announced at that game showcase at the start of the podcast. Yes, I do, but also at the same time, the Kirby AirRider Direct 2, it just didn't really feel like a start of the podcast type thing or start of the news cycle type thing. It just kind of felt like something I should put right here because the game is coming soon. And there is a bit of more information that was shown off for this presentation. Now, Sakurai returned for another hour-long direct about the upcoming Kirby game, and he talked about a few new additions that he didn't talk about before, including the top ride mode is coming back. This is the mode that is a top-down like map, and you're just kind of like guiding your Kirby Air Rider around. There will be 6 courses that are top down, including Flower, Flow, Air, Crystal, Steam, and Mountain. And these maps will also be available for Kaboom, Drift Flames, Drill Driver, Seeker Missile, Course Quaker, and Chicky modes. I'm not sure what those are. So 4 players can race on this map at the same time, or 8 can play online. So that'll give you a chance to fill the screen with all sorts of racers around the track. So that's it's a little bit of a fun kind of mode, kind of like an old school type mode there. They also Sakurai showed off the road trip mode. This is a brand new game mode that will take you to an open-ish road, tackling races and challenges as you go down from Kirby Air Ride, City Trial, Top Ride stadiums, and more. There will also be shops and rest stops along the way, so you can enhance your racer's abilities and stuff like that. Sounds like a roguelite mode, which is kind of what Nintendo's main thing has been recently. He showed off the online play. If you have Nintendo Switch Online, you'll be able to play the game online. You'll make a virtual driver's license. You'll be able to decorate it with all kinds of stamps, colors, and nicknames. And then once that is to your liking, you'll be able to explore the hub area called Paddock, which is a new lobby zone where you're free to wander around while you wait for a game to start. You can emote and put some phrases on screen, much like the Mario Kart lobbies, you know. But yeah, you can do all that. You can find people to play with, etc., etc. He went over a couple of copy abilities. There are some more here that he went over, including Needle, Freeze, Sleep, Fighter, Drill, Flash, and Missile. Those are all the ones he announced. Also, the class system. Players will be able to come up against online matches and play with classes, which I think he talked about a bit in the first Direct too. Which is kind of like part of the city trial thing, so it's not really too new of a thing there. He also showed off a couple of other AirRider courses, including Airtopia Ruins, Crystalline Fissure, and Steam Gust Forge, all looking pretty good. Also, he mentioned some tracks from the GameCube release will also be able to unlock for a grand total of 18 courses, including Fantasy Meadows, Celestial Valley, Sky Sands, Frozen Hillside, Magma Flows, Beanstalk Park, Machine Passage, Checker Nights, and Nebula Belt, all maps returning from the previous game. Also, another game mode or race mode called Swap Relay was shown off, where it was a 3-lap circuit, but you will swap out your vehicle each time you go past the checkpoint. So it shakes things up a bit. City trial items. He showed off some of the city trial items, including Speed Up, Dizzy Beam, Special Up, Item Catcher, Fireworks, Laser Swiper, Multi Missile, Size Up, and Mega Cannon. All those and more we'll be able to use during the city trials. He showed off team battles, which are a part of city trials, where you team up with other players on the map or other AI on the map, and whoever wins keeps going or gets the better stuff. He showed off some more characters that are being introduced, like Taranza, Lololo, and Lalala, DeRoach, Rocky, Rick, Scarfy, Marks from True Far Marks, and Weedle D, Golden Weedle D. He also showed off some more machines that you'll be able to ride, including the Transform Star, the Formula Star, the Hop Star, the Jet Star, the Wheelie Scooter, and the Bull Tank. He also said that the announcers were going to be available in English, Japanese, French, German, Spanish, Latin American Spanish, Italian, Dutch, Portuguese, both simplified and traditional Chinese, and Korean. Time Attack and Free Run mode will be available. There will be plenty of stadiums and mini games inside those stadiums. There will be versus bosses, so I guess there's some sort of boss fights in here. Robotic DDD was shown off. There will be a checklist with challenges on it as well. You'll be able to customize your machine too by putting on stickers and icons and stuff like that. You'll be able to put hats and stuff on your character and stuff like that. You'll be able to collect gummies in the game, which are shaped like the various machines. You can pick these up by beating other challenges and races. They do have their uses. You can use them for the Kirby-shaped pointer in mouse mode, which is something. You also be able to choose what music plays during the game. There are plenty of accessibility options, including control stick inverts, button remapping, color filters, remove screen shake, change screen flow, field of view, and more. He also showed off 3 more amiibo, including King Dedede and his machine, Chef Kawasaki and his machine, and what's his face? Meta Knight and his Shadow Star machine. So once again, these will all be interchangeable. You can change Dedede onto Meta Knight's thing and vice versa. And those will be available for $30 or something like that when that comes out, along with the Kirby and Bandana Waddle Dee characters. There will also be a global test ride demo available between the 8th of November and the 9th of November for specific times. I'm sorry, from the 8th of November to the 16th of November at specific times. So if you want to try that out, you'll need to download that from Nintendo eShop and tune in between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. Pacific time on the 8th. I'm not going to go through every night. There's select times, so look them up. There's select times for each of those. So There we go. It was another direct chock full of information, and Sakurai, of course, he loves his games, and you could definitely tell the passion coming from him as he was talking about this game. And I kind of understood why he needed a whole nother direct. The first direct was more so like, hey, what is Kirby Air Rider, and what is coming to AirRiders. And now it's like, okay, here, you know what the concept is. Here is what we're planning on. He also said that there will not be any DLC for the game. It is what it is. And also that there will be a day one update for the game, so the whole game will not be on one cartridge. So that's a little bit disappointing, but at the same time, at least the whole game is going to be right there for us from day one. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So that is that. Kirby Air Riders coming out. That's coming soon, right? That's coming. That is coming November 20th. So mark your calendars. And while you're marking your calendars, you can also check mark the 10-year anniversary of Fallout 4. And there is a re-release of Fallout 4 coming across systems, both the PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and also PC. There is no plans for a Switch 2 version just yet, but I'm sure that might come in the future. The Anniversary Edition is going to include all the DLC. This is coming out November 10th. And it includes all the DLC plus over 150 creation items. And this is pretty much just the next gen version of the game. Instead of getting a new Fallout game this year, we just keep getting updates for Fallout 76, and now we're getting a re-release of Fallout 4. Now, it makes some sense to re-release Fallout 4 simply because the Fallout TV series was so well received, and people were kind of hyped on that, and then, Bethesda's like, well, we could have made money off of this, and a lot of people don't really care about Fallout 76. I mean, it's probably a fine game or everything, but at the same time, people aren't going to clamor to play Fallout 76. They're going to play the latest Fallout game, which is Fallout 4, like full, single player game. So, yeah, I mean, it has some enhanced visuals in there, of course. I mean, Fallout 4 was one of those games where I didn't really feel the need to go back through it. I mean, I played one of the DLCs for it, which was Automatron, and Nuka World. I think I played that one too, but it was one of those games I didn't really feel the need to replay. And when I tried to replay it last year, I was like, yeah, it's also like, I liked the game when I played it. It was one of my favorite games that year that came out, but also at the same time, like, it's just one of those games where I just really don't feel the need to replay it, And that's kind of what happens with a lot of these big open world games. It's like, I enjoy it while I'm playing it, but it's just not a game that I'm willing to go back to over and over and over again. But we'll see. If this new version has like a special thing about it, maybe I'll pick it back up, but probably not. Also, the final Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 DLC was announced, called Mysteria SLSA, which is coming November 11th. This is the third and final story expansion for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and this is going to put you into Cédelles Monastery to investigate a deadly disease. Join Henry as he assumes the role of assistant to Sigmund Albicus, a renowned healer with ties to King Wenceslas himself. Tasked with a clandestine mission within the monastery's ancient walls, Henry finds himself entangled in a web of intrigue and deadly, mysterious plague, where each faction harbors its own hidden motives. Alongside a new location in the story quest, you'll also encounter new factions within the monastery, all of which has their own secrets, motivations, and reasons relating to the overall mystery. There will also be a new outfit, weapon, potions, and books, along with the monastery itself. This will be a $14 DLC, and it will, it should be a nice little package if you want to come back to the game. I still have yet to come back for that Legend of the Forge DLC. I meant to, but I never got around to it. If you want to buy the Season Pass, I believe the Season Pass is like a $25 or $30 or something like that. The game itself is on discount right now, 40% off on PlayStation Store, which I think is a pretty good deal. I think the game was originally like, what was that, $60 game? I very much enjoyed the game. I gave this a 5 out of 5, which was the first 5 out of 5 of the year. And it was, I mean, lo and behold, it was not the only 5 out of 5 this year. There was like another like 3 or so games that are 5 out of 5. So it's the year started off pretty good with when this came out. That was in February, and the year has just been really stacked for games. So, when I look forward to like my game of the year, or even like the top 10 list that I'm gonna make, there's gonna be some tough decisions. There's really gonna be some tough decisions there. So, but we'll get to that when we get to that, and that's actually coming sooner rather than later. So that's kind of crazy. Battlefield 6 is getting a Season 1 update on October 28th, which is not too far away. There's going to be a new map, new modes, and possibly a new weapon in this new season. In the press release, they said players only get 1 life per round in Strike Point, so it's essential to play carefully, stick with teammates, and watch for ambushes. Victory in a round is attained when the other team captures the objectives or eliminates the other squad, and the first team to win 6 rounds takes the match. So that sounds like the Counter-Strike game mode. So it sounds like a hardcore game mode for sweaty tryhards. You gotta have one of those in every game. Also, a new map called Blackwell Fields, and the 4v4 mode is Strike Point. Also, on the 28th, there will be the Transfer Mark II new vehicle, the SOR 388 SC new carbine, the GGH 22 new pistol, the Mini Scout sniper rifle, and the Rail Cover and LPVD new alternative, whatever. They also announced on November 18th, a new map called Eastwood is coming around, which is California. It looks like California. A new mode called Sabotage will be coming around, along with a new, looks like a new LMG or something like that. A new SMG, a new revolver, and a new attachment. And then in winter, the new map called Ice Lock Empire State will be out. It seems like a seasonal map where they turn the Brooklyn map into a snowy wonderland. Could be kind of fun. The Ice Lock will be around, which is a new game mode, and then you also get the Ice Climbing Axe as a new melee weapon. So that sounds all very good and dandy indeed. So there's also going to be some gameplay tweaks and stuff with the Season 1 update as well. I know that a couple people have been complaining here and there about some of the ins and outs of the game right now. Overall, it's a good experience, but it does require a little bit of tweaking, in my opinion. I'm sure a lot of people would agree. So, that'll come October 28th. Speaking of first-person shooters, can't have Battlefield 6 without Black Ops 7 being mentioned. So they already announced the Season 1 stuff for Black Ops 7, which, a lot of people are kind of like, okay, why are you doing this so early? But at the same time, it's Call of Duty. They're trying to sell you as much shit as they can early on. So there's a lot of maps that are playable at launch. They named all those. Plus, there's 2 zombie maps as well. One of them is a story zombie mode, and one of them is a survival map, so that's kind of nice. Coming in Season 1 will be Nuketown 2025, which will be playable on November 20th, along with a map called Fate, Utopia, Odysseus, Standoff, Meltdown, and Yakai, along with some more secret maps. There will also be a new zombies map called Astria Malorum, and then a new zombie survival map called Exit 115, which might be a chunk of that terminal map from Black Ops 2, which would be kind of cool. And then another survival map called Zara Cosmodrome will be available during Season 1 as well. So, I mean, that's a good amount of offering for Season 1. I'm sure this is all going to be free in a free update across the span of Season 1 with a Season Pass connected to it all. You can't have a Black Ops game without Nuketown, of course. I mean, the selections of maps to start off is pretty good, and for them to keep adding more maps is always a nice thing. I'm not going to poo-poo Call of Duty for putting free stuff into their game, I'm not that big of a hater. The game is still coming on November 14th to Xbox Game Pass and the Xbox Series X and S and all those other places. And then pretty much a week after launch will be Nuketown, and then a little bit farther ahead will be Season 1. So there you go. Mouse PI for Hire got a bit of a delay. It is now going to officially launch next year on March 19th, 2026. This was shown off during a showcase, but what they showed off, I mean, I like how this game is looking. It's got that old like cartoony style of kind of game, and you play as like this mouse detective who's shooting through tons and tons and tons of enemies. It's got a very nice visual flair to it, and everything is looking very good. And of course, they just need a little bit more time with it, which is fine. I am very excited to play this when it does come out. It's coming to pretty much every platform. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and Steam. So it's got it all there. I believe it's also coming to PS4 and PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S, I think. Yeah, very excited about that. We'll see. We'll wait to hear more about that when it comes around next year. In the same plane as that, their Sinking City 2 has been delayed until next year as well. Not because it needs more time in the oven, but because the war in Ukraine is causing them to have a lot of delays. Now, we heard about that Stalker 2 game that came out. That was also heavily delayed because of the war in Ukraine. Now, the Sinking City 2 was supposed to come late 2025, but now it's coming in 2026. From the studio's head of publishing, Sergei Oganessian explained, developing a game during a war isn't something you can ever really prepare for, but something you need to keep adapting to. At one point, we were losing power for days as drones and missiles hit our power grid. When that tactic stopped working, it became mass drone swarms every other night, going from midnight until dawn. You work all day and then spend sleepless nights listening for explosions and somehow still need to function the next morning. So, yeah, this is a pretty harrowing story, obviously, and I just hope that the developers stay safe during this time. And like, if they have to put this game on pause, so be it. I'm not gonna poo-poo them for running to cover during a war. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with this game. It does look very intriguing. I've never played the original Sinking City game. It got a remaster, I think, like last year or a couple years ago now. Which I was thinking about picking that up, but right now, just hopefully they stay safe, and when the Sinking City 2 comes out, I will probably be there to pick it up to support them. Marvel's Cosmic Invasion. Yes, that's right. We have the last 2 characters on the roster, and it will be out this year on December 1st, 2025. So the 2 new characters are Phoenix and Invincible Iron Man, which I'm kind of surprised Iron Man wasn't already announced for this, but Invincible Iron Man is a different version of Iron Man, right? I'm not up to date with my Marvel comic book lore, but yeah, there's a bit of a different version of the character, right? So in the blurb, they said, with 15 playable characters, Marvel Cosmic Invasion gives players an incredible variety of skills and styles to mix and match as they traverse across the cosmos in a star-spanning adventure. Choose and control your own team of 2 or more characters while tagging between them mid-fight with interactive cosmic swap systems, capitalizing on distinct superpowers and special attacks to create unique team-ups and dish out devastating damage. The game will be available for $24.99 when it comes out, which is a pretty good price, and especially because it's a Marvel IP. And all the characters are Beta Ray Bill, Black Panther, Captain America, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Invincible Iron Man, Nova, Phoenix, Phyla Vel, Rocket Raccoon, She-Hulk, Silver Surfer, Spider-Man, Storm, Venom, and Wolverine. Those are all the playable characters on launch of the game. So pretty good roster there. The game is looking very good. I believe there's like a demo or something available as well that you can try out. Yeah, very, very good looking game. Definitely going to be picking this one up. Dench Attack. This is the game where you play as a train and you can do like skateboard tricks off of the track. This was revealed at like Gamescom back in August, and I was pretty interested in playing this one. They just revealed that the game is going to be coming out in 2026. So we have to wait a little bit longer for the game, but it looks very high energy, high octane. I'm very excited about playing this one. There's also like some sort of battle mode as well, maybe like a boss mode, battle mode, but they are predicting that the game will come out in spring of 2026, and they would request that you wishlist it now on various platforms, and I think it's going to be a very cool game. I mean, it looks very I don't know, nostalgic, I guess you could say, because it looks kind of like Jet Set Radio, but at the same time, it looks very fresh, very unique. It's like combining that Jet Set Radio / Tony Hawk type thing with a train on a track and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, Dench Attack, that is coming spring 2026. Croc, Legend of the Gobos. This is getting it already got a Platinum Edition, which added trophies and time trials to the game. If you already own the game, it'll be added to your account for free. So there's no reason to rebuy or buy extra DLC for it. They also said that the physical version of the game, which is coming out later in December, that will have the Platinum Edition on the disc. So that's also good to note there. In a press release, they said, when we initially launched Croc Legend of the Gobos Remaster, we didn't include enough trophies to qualify for the Platinum Trophy on PlayStation, and it's not permitted to simply fix this with a patch. So we had to come up with a smarter solution. Release a new version of the game with a comprehensive trophy set, including 16 new trophies and a highly coveted Platinum Trophy. Also, a new time trial mode called Time Attack was added. 25 new additions to the Crocopedia, the ability to toggle between different Croc main theme mixes on the main menu, a handful of bug fixes, and a handful of quality of life features were implemented as well. The Platinum Edition came out on October 16th, so it's already available for you to play if you so desire. Personally, I am waiting for my physical edition to arrive. They said in an email that was going to be coming in December, and it will have the Platinum Edition on it, which is very nice. We're still going, folks, over 2 hours in, and I'm going to talk about Bluey's quest for the gold pen. This is the news that we needed, folks. We needed this podcast to go on for 2 hours because of Bluey's quest for the gold pen. So this is a bit of a different take on the Bluey video game. Before, it was like kind of very much matching the aesthetic of the show, but this game is being, I don't know, it's like hand-drawn by Bluey herself. They didn't really show too much gameplay off in the little snippets, but it seems to be a top-down, kind of like a hacky, slashy kind of game or platformer where you play as Bluey and Bingo, and you do some platforming, you find some collectibles, and you're in like this hand-drawn kind of world, or it was supposed to look like a hand-drawn kind of world. So I think that in general it looks cute. I think it's going to be better received than the Bluey game was. I believe the game was pretty boring, even though it literally looked like an episode of the TV show. This, though, does not look like an episode of the TV show, but it is very close to like a child's drawing type thing. I believe there's also a mobile version of the game on Apple devices, and that will release in December, and then a console and PC version will release later in the next year in 2026. So if you want to pre-order that, you can on various platforms. It will be coming across all platforms: mobile, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, Steam, and Epic Game Store. Very important. Very important. All right, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was going to say Assassin's Creed 2 for some reason. Assassin's Creed Shadows is coming to the Switch 2. This was a bit of a not a well-kept secret. This was actually leaked a week ago, but I decided not to talk about news last week. Also, I don't really talk about leaks like this. I wait for a big, for an actual press release, because then you get more information about it. So Assassin's Creed Shadows will be coming to the Switch 2. It is going to be a game key card, and is coming on December 2nd, 2025. The game will cost about $60, and there will be cross-progression. So if you started the game on PC or somewhere else, or maybe you started on Switch 2 and you move somewhere else, you can actually use the cross-progression. The game itself, running on the Switch 2 doesn't look bad at all. Of course, things are going to suffer a little bit when you go to handheld mode, but I think the game in docked is going to run pretty well, much like the Star Wars Outlaws game. This will include the title update 10 and 11 for the game, so you won't need to download extra material when you boot it up. Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can really say. They didn't really talk about any of the specifics about the game, but I'm pretty sure it's going to run at like a smooth 60 frames per second, I would hope, in docked mode. It'll probably hit like a 30 frames per second in handheld mode at 1080p. But they did not give any specifics, which is a little bit concerning in my opinion. But yes, that'll be available December 2nd if you want to check that out. Speaking of Switch 2 news, Pikmin 4 is getting a free content update next month, both on the original Switch and the Switch 2. If you plug it into the Switch 2, there's not a Switch 2 version of the game still, but this is a pretty much a beefy update, or not really a beefy update, but an update for the game, and I'm sure it'll be fine on the Switch 2. So this is a interesting addition. They added decor Pikmin, which were originally seen in Pikmin Bloom. But these curious Pikmin are marching their way to Pikmin 4. Decor Pikmin are Pikmin that don some form of decoration found in the world. You may see them wearing something like a wind-up toy, a donut, a snow hat, and much more. Decor Pikmin you gather in the new Pikmin 4 update can also be transferred to your squad in Pikmin Bloom for free. Also, the new field camera takes stylish photos of your character, your squad, and whatever you like in the new feature. So it's pretty much just an in-game camera with extra filters, frames, and stamps. And then also the new creature activity levels. Move at your own pace and enjoy a new relaxed mode where creatures won't attack unless you attack them, or kick things up a notch with a fiery fierce mode. These modes can be selected when starting a new game or changed at any point in the game setting. So essentially you get a baby mode and a big boy mode, a even harder game mode if you so desire. So that's the that's it right there. It's not quite a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, but it is something for Pikmin 4, which is great. I always love my Pikmin updates, and I don't think this is going to make me go back to the game right now, but it is a nice update for Pikmin 4, and they're doing all this Pikmin stuff. Update to Pikmin 4, the Closer to You Pikmin thing. They're ramping up stuff for Pikmin Bloom. I just feel like another Pikmin game is on the horizon. Hopefully Pikmin 5. But we shall see. All right, let's round out the end of this podcast here. So, Nintendo is going to expand its Switch 2 and GameCube library with Luigi's Mansion. This will be available on October 30th, just in time for Halloween. This is the GameCube original version. This is not like the 3DS version or whatever. This is the GameCube version. So this is also the first, it's one of the launch games for the GameCube as well. But yes, Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube online service with Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pass. Then we have some games leaving PlayStation Plus. There's about 7 games here. Alternative, Jake Hunter, Deadliest, The Awakening of Golden Jazz, Battlefield 5, Digimon Survive, Football Manager 2024 Console Edition, Like a Dragon Ishin, Synapse, and Travis Strikes Again, No More Hunters. Those are leaving PlayStation Plus on November 18th. And then here are 3 games leaving Xbox Game Pass in October. On October 31st, we have Jusant, Metal Slug Tactics, and Return to Monkey Island. I think trying out Metal Slug Tactics would be great. Return to Monkey Island was a fun little adventure. I didn't finish it. On the PlayStation side of things, not really big on any of these games. Maybe Synapse if you have a PSVR 2. Travis Strikes Again on the PS4. Digimon Survive. A lot of people didn't really enjoy that one. Battlefield 5, though, that's it's the World War II Battlefield game. It's definitely worth trying out. And Like a Dragon Ishin, a lot of those Like a Dragon games are very good. Ishin is like a take on like an old school like feudal Japan style Like a Dragon thing. So there you go. All right. As we round out almost to 2 hours and 30 minutes, let's go ahead and finish off this podcast with Guess That Song. If you know the name of the song and the game that it came from, let me know in the comments below on YouTube or Spotify. I'll give you a heart and a congratulations. Or if you head over to the Discord, link in the description below, I'll give you a super reaction and you'll get the admiration of your peers. Let's go ahead and listen to today's song right now. Okay, once again, if you know the name of the song and the game that came from, let me know in the comments below or where I told you to. If you want to check out anything else that I do on the channel, it's all at YemmytheFerret, whether it be on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, etc. All the links are down in the description below. I am multi-streaming on both Twitch and YouTube now, so if you want to check me out on either of those platforms, you can. Right now, we just finished A Quiet Place, and we're going to start something new on Monday. We have one more week of spooky streams, and then we get into Bunger Month. So make sure you check out the Discord for information on that. I will probably be posting information for Bunger Month on Tuesday, and people will be able to submit games that they want me to play throughout November on like the day before Halloween, probably, or maybe even the day of Halloween. So yeah, make sure you join the Discord for all those shenanigans, and yeah, we'll be back to a normal streaming schedule Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays. If you want to check me out streaming, any other podcast I do, we got Film Freaks with a Z, which is the movie podcast where I talk about movies. The latest episode is about E.T., the extraterrestrial. Next episode is going to be about Dune Part 2, if you want to check that out. And then also Food Bar Fair, that's a monthly podcast. A new episode that releases, I believe, either this week or next week. I don't remember exactly when, but it's either this week or next week. You'll see when I post it online. So yeah, once again, thank you to Gael Loliot for the new intro and outro theme. Really appreciate that. And here's to a new era for the Ferret 64 podcast. Cheers. I'll talk at you next week. Goodbye. The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by YemmytheFerret. Sound clips included during the podcast were made by YemmytheFerret. The Ferret 64 logo was made by Player2P2. The intro and outro music was made by Gail Laliot on Fiverr. News sources include PushSquare.com, NintendoLife.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions are my own. Thank you for listening.